Greetings and welcome to Stario Haven Tower, a new upcoming and promising city builder where you build a massive tower towards the sky. Stack each layer into a self-sustaining ecosystem by providing facilities for daily needs like water, processing industries for advanced construction materials, and connecting each layer with vertical trade routes. From humble shelters of wood to massive stone structures piercing the sky. On top of that, you need to manage the happiness and spirits of your population and survive calamities such as sandstorms and foggy mists. This is a sponsored video by Stario team, and I'd like to show you hands-on gameplay. The game is set to release this year, but you can already play a demo on Steam, so don't forget to check out the link in the video description to learn more about it. People once believed the Golden Age would last forever, until the world-ending sandstorm swept across the land, bringing civilization to ruin. Only those who hid in Down City escaped the catastrophe, clinging to life. But, in the prophecy, gather the 7 stars, forge the sacred stature, and the calamity shall be quelled, the glory of civilization reborn. And so, the first explorers set out. They vow to build a sky-high tower towards the unreachable stars. Alright, and here we are now, and on this map we have our very first tower that we can build now. Dilmun it's called. Let's enter the storm, and here we are now, in all its glory. Right now at the foundation, at the very lowest level that you can go for, and down here the sandstorm is relentless, and we do have it all the time basically. We can, theoretically, go all the way up into higher zones, into the mist zone, into the rain zone, but until we can reach that, well, it's gonna take some time. And all the way down here, we need to start our economy. We do have our very first, well, let's call it a district over here that I can continue expanding. We also have, on the other side, a bit of space that we can now use for, our industry, and we have 2 industrial buildings for that. The dew collector, with that we can start right away, and this one gathers raindrops in the air, right, water in the air, to make water out of that. And then we also have a plantation for basic food, and this one here consumes water so that we can grow some food. Let's have them on the other side of the whole thing so that we have a bit of space in between. These people live here and they go to work here, right, on the same platform at the moment. I also really like how we have the storage over here. So layer 1, there it is, and then we have all our food, our water, and some construction materials. Right now my population consists of 12 sorry souls that are living here and enjoying the weather. And in this case here, they're working now, of course, and this is increasing the morale, that we have food on the table and that they have also a purpose. Now, speaking about purpose, we are producing wood in the plantation, and we can actually use this wood to make planks out of that in a woodcutter station. So I would like to go ahead and have my first industrial building right over here as well, just beside my plantation. So the wood gets transported over and then processed into planks. Since space is getting a bit tight already here, we can expand the next tower, and for now, for starters, we have 3 options available. And the other 2 options are actually really interesting. They give me bonuses, however, they cost me bricks. That is something I don't have yet. So we're gonna build an island level 1 as my next construction right on top of that. And after a short period of time, there you go, we have grown a tiny bit to the sky. Since we need to grow in numbers as well, let's build this, 2 more huts and finish this, let's call it district. I cannot build further than this because the ability would be too low then, right? So you cannot just endlessly build horizontally, because of course you need to have something to hold your structures. Later on we're gonna have some options for that. While we wait for some people to join, we should also set our porters to a minimum of 3. So these are carriers, they're transporting the resources back and forth on my platforms. The more I have, the more efficient my resource transportation is. All the way down here, I would like to have my next industrial building. That is a dust collector, and that is really interesting because the dust collector we can then use to make bricks out of that. So let's have them all around my wood cutting station here. And on these tiny sheets of paper or cloth, they're producing now dust, or they're gathering dust. That is important. Also, what we should have is a research station to unlock us attacks. And I would like to have the research station probably a bit further up here now, right? So we can start over here as that one in the next layer. Now, job priority matters a lot. Right now, I would like to have the dew collector as the highest priority, that we have a steady supply of water. The same goes with wood and planks, right, and food, and then only dust collector and research station. So research is the last on the list. That's a luxury right now. Survival has priority. I'm already continuing with my neighborhood into the next layer, so we can also once again stack them, and I can even have then another one up here as well. So plenty of space for people. Alrighty, and with that, finally we can also staff our research station and start our very first tag. And boy, don't get overwhelmed, because there is a lot. For the sand zone, we have the tag. So this is also a nice structuring, right? We have for every layer, we have then the tags coming in. For the mist zone, for the rain zone, for the frost zone. Should I stop? No, right? The clear zone, the star zone. There's a lot of stuff to research. For now, though, we're starting with the most basic things, and that is unlocking us the bricks out of the dust that we gather already. Doesn't take long, and research has been finished. This took also some dust, right? So all of this costs me something. So for the cactus, for example, it cost me water and dust to research that, and faith points. Faith points we do gather if we have a good morale, right? The higher the morale, the faster is my faith generation. Right now we're gathering around 0.74 per second. Doesn't sound like a lot, but I think it's okay. Now we can now finally build the sand brick factory with that, and yeah, process our dust into bricks. Let's have this right next to my plantation there. Speaking about plantation, yeah, water and food is not looking so great. We do have the dew collectors over there. I'm considering building another plantation. For the water, we already have these dew collectors here, but if we grow to towards the mist zone, the higher we go, the more water you could potentially get out of that. So I'm gonna build me another one, and as we can see, we do have some options now that I can also build, like the courtyard level 1. This boosts my wood and my food production, so I would like to have one of these here. And as you also can see, we can then rotate these platforms, right, so that it looks a bit proper, and we can also even move them, yeah, as much as, well, stability would allow this. But for now, I think I'm gonna go ahead and have it something like that. So we definitely want to increase it a bit, right, for future platforms then also. So let's push this one. Gonna take some time, as it's also consuming lots of bricks. After being finished, we can marvel at it, because it's looking way more sophisticated than the platforms that we've had so far. And next one, I would go for the next layer that gives me actually 20% water production, right? So that we kind of like mix this together. And for this, once again, let's just check it out if we can make this one into a nice shape. I think this is something that could really work well, because with that we also get a bit of a platform here that gets maximum stability. That is something we can use later on for some heavier buildings. In the meantime, we're gonna move now our farms over here, and as you can see, we're already getting a bonus now out of that we would not be able to get in the lower levels, thanks to having a higher richness level here for food. And with layer 4 unlocked, we can also now move these dew collectors all the way up here, where we do have just a higher water consumption, right? Gotta make sure that we hopefully can stack them. Unfortunately, we cannot stack them here. Right, so we're moving them now up here, right? Construction is ongoing. The problem here is now, though, that my people that are living down here, they can only traverse 2 layers up and 2 layers down. So right now, this is the maximum I can have for those 2 layers here. But I need to have people up here. So I need to also create me a little new neighborhood in this area here. I'm essentially gonna have them right on top of each other, right? Makes sense to me to keep the neighborhoods together here. This is gonna play an important role later on when we want to provide some services. A sandstorm is approaching. Unstable structures may take damage. Let's hope you didn't build too far from the tower. So there it is. We also have disasters now unlocking, and the sandstorm is the first one. It's lasting for almost 3 minutes, which is quite a lot. During these 3 minutes, my dew collectors also won't be working, so they're now stopped, and that means we're running out of water inevitably and probably lose a few people on the way. Cactus has been researched, and with that we can move on to the next one. It's the signpost, because this one here boosts my efficiency of my porters by 100%. I also love how you can see the storm, right? Up here in the mist zone, there's no storm anymore. It's all the way down here in those first 4 layers that we have now. Visually fantastic looking, I think. But as you can see, we're losing people now. And with that, also my morale drops as we're out of water. I need to survive another 15 seconds. I think we can do this. Off it goes. We have endured the sandstorm. Morale is increasing again. Also, we could try and improve disaster shelter attribute of your residents to reduce the chance of such accidents to happen. And we also get some ore out of a reward that was brought with the sandstorm. Next, we need to start a new material, and that is the glass that we're gonna need for additional buildings now, for advanced buildings. And this also consumes dust. So let's have it beside my brick factory. So we have the dust consuming industry close together. And this is also consuming then, of course, dust now, and it opened up jobs for my people. Speaking about dust, we can also see this here, how it's looking right now. So in this case here, we have plenty of dust right now. Bricks are also looking fine. They're dividing then, or they're spreading out to the other layers. And then we have the water. And one thing you can notice right away is that we're producing a lot of water now in layer 4, and my porters need to carry this all the way down. This is not very efficient, especially once we have more residents in. So we need to find a new way of transportation. Coincidentally, we just researched something that helps us out with that, and that is a pipe, a glass pipe, a slippery sealed pipeline that transports fluids down here. And yeah, we're gonna choose the layer 4 all the way, and we're gonna drag it then all the way down to the lowest level. As you can see, there's all kind of different shapes you can do with that. I think a straight line all the way down here is the safest bet right now. And let's construct this one. We also have the wooden pipe, falling items, right? So if we have some solids up there, we can also make this one to transport those solids to the lower levels faster. Now this pipe is under construction, takes a bit of time. And once it's finished, we can then also say, yeah, get water down. And this is now being transported to my people down there, and it's also alleviating the load on my porters. Speaking about my porters, we've also got the signpost that I would like to go ahead with now. This is boosting the porter efficiency for this level by 100%, which is a lot. It's a very light building, so you don't need to have its own structural integrity there, right? And yeah, we probably could have it for each layer. It only costs me some planks, and then space is the most expensive thing that this one here actually costs me. And let's have one all the way out here beside my dust collectors. This speeds up efficiency quite a bit. And look at how my tower is coming together. Just nicely. Time to research some more things like a structural unit. This allows me then to also add more weight limit to a layer, so I can increase its integrity. And with that, we can then add more buildings per layer as well. And we continue in the meantime to grow towards the mist zone, which is another biome entirely if you want to. And we do have some additional structures for that now, like the headland, like the lapis lazuli, and also the stone chamber. And we could build all of that, in fact. This one here also has a nice production bonus. This one has an environmental bonus. For now though, I'm actually going with another boat, because we can stack the boat on each other, the boats here, right? So that it looks a bit more coherent. And then I'm going to focus on one of the other ones. Let's build this one. And then we're building a cliff on that. This gives me some disaster shelter. That is also something that we can always use. It costs me, yeah, planks and bricks primarily. Gonna take me some time. I don't think we have that many bricks left anymore. And also it's pretty far up here now, right? So my people need to go all the way up. Nice quality of life feature. If you don't want to, have everything visible, you can also just make one layer visible like this one here. And then it's much easier to build stuff on it, especially once the lower levels become a bit convoluted with all the layers above them. Gets a bit harder, and this is a nice feature. And with that, we have reached the mist zone. The tower citizens are excited for the upcoming new era. And whether to quell fear or aid their work, the lanterns will now be essential. So the game doesn't just stop with the stuff that we have here, right? In the mist zone, we have now a new resource and a new essential need, and that's the lanterns. So people that live here need that at all times, just like water and food. That means we need to also advance into the mist layer here. Now, by the way, we still have the potato plantation. Let's finish this one. And since I do need more workforce, let's also push a few more houses now here into the next layer, right? So they're also then able to work all the way up here. So just as we grow with the tower, we also just grow with our neighborhood. And just on time, the next sandstorm hits us. We lose all my water supply. But the cool thing is, I think up here we're still producing water. Is that right? Yeah, we're still producing it. Seems that it's a bit high enough now. And we're also here at the threshold of the two zones. And while the sandstorm is raging, we can actually build now our next logistics building. And that's going to be really cool. That's a balloon station, because up to this point here, where we're just transporting the water down. But if you want to get materials up, well, we do need to have a balloon that transports those materials. So let's just find us this logistic area again. I think this is my logistics corridor, I might call it. And I'm just going to have a balloon all the way out here. And then it's being transported then all the way up to this platform there, right? So that's basically my first trade route here that I can now implement. Balloon station, set the route all the way up here to the top, right? And then we're transporting the stuff over that we're gonna need. And that is, for example, glass as a resource. And whoosh, there it goes. Sandstorm is no problem for this balloon as it transports the resource up there. I love the details. Look at this little guy having the time of his life there. With every sandstorm, we're getting damaged, right? So right now we have a total need of repair kits already of 26. So we should start producing that, otherwise my structures will collapse. And for that we have the repair kit workshop. This one consumes wood and dust, so it should probably be at one of the lower levels where we already have our industry here. So let's have it right next to my glassworks. And with that, we're also now finally producing repair kits. You may have noticed this gap here for my layer 4, and we do need more food production. Layer 4 is right for this. For this we have now these structural blocks that we can add. We have the cheaper, larger frame, but we also have the more durable, larger blocks, and I can add them now to fill in those gaps so that that tower looks more coherent and has more of a formed structure, right? And once we add them, we can then also build us new buildings close to that. Like I would like to have my plantation. And as you can see, we can now also build that farm right next to the block. And I should be able to stack 2 of them very good on top of each other down the road for more food production. And there's my next one, the farm. This one actually has a low stability, so I probably should add some blocks also down to this. So as you progress, this game becomes also more like a physics simulator where you want to get maximum stability out of that. I'm actually considering building my wooden structure here, honestly, right, to increase my stability. A little bit later, also my next research has been finished, and that's the quartz, and that is a new production. This one's interesting because it needs a jellyfish glasswork. However, jellyfish glasswork is not a simple building, it's rather also a building that reduces my environmental rating. So this is one of the first buildings that actually causes pollution, you might say. So I should have it as far away from the neighborhoods as possible. If I have it too close, as you can see, we are actually negatively impacting them. I still also need to produce quartz though, and for that I'm probably gonna go 1 layer up, or we could also use one of the existing platforms, because for the quartz we need to have a Jellyfish Bay, and a Jellyfish Bay is not a simple industrial building, it's actually a platform. So you need to transfer these platforms into Jellyfish Bay, transform them. And for this, what we need is we need to stick in the mist layer. I do not want to have this one though, and we're rather going up with 1 simple island. There's also an industrial one, the industrial core. That's actually a really big building, right, that you can add. But for now, let's actually have an island that we push on top of this platform here. Because once again, this adds a nice coherent look. And on top of that, we can get an industrial platform then. Very nice. And now we can transform this one into Jellyfish Bay. However, we do need some workforce for that. So I'm inclined to just go with 1 or 2 huts closer to this one. I think this one is fine. Yep. Right, so that we have some workforce also now for the upper layers. The logic behind that is actually really interesting. It attracts a glowing jellyfish in the mist. A hard crystal is preserved by its jelly, and that is then the quartz. So that's the logic behind the collection of quartz. And the quartz, well, of course, we're then processing into the jellyfish glassworks for glass if I want to, but we have the glass already working, so rather go for the lantern workshop. This takes glass and quartz and produces lanterns out of that. Once again, this is not something that reduces efficiency or environmental impact, so we could have this one on one of those reinforced structures. It has a lot of weight. 8. I think 8 is the highest one that we've had so far. There you go. And with that, we have the lantern production up and running. Next, I'm expanding my structural integrity in my neighborhood. For one simple reason, we do now have our very first service building that is positively affecting a neighborhood, and that is the greenhouse. Adds a touch of color to the tower. It can enhance the surrounding living environment. We want to do this because, as you can see, we get a very good range on this one if we build it here. And if we do, what you can then actually do is you can upgrade these buildings. So I think I'm gonna go ahead with one here. Could also have it here, right? And then one a bit further up. As you can see, the whole neighborhood is happy because of that, and with that we also move up our spirit levels for this. Another disaster hits us, the mist, and the mist pervades around 200 meters, has long been a mystery. It's not like the ordinary mist, it feels a living entity which corrodes the tower citizens' minds. When the mist comes, buildings won't be damaged, but my citizens may lose their faith. And yeah, that is happening now up here. And you can also once again see the transition just nicely here, right, between the mist area now and the sandstorm area. Alright, just on time, we have finished something that gets the spirits up again, the meditation hall. And my citizens release their dread of celestial calamities and rekindle the faith. And yeah, we can have this one then here, just by my stone structure that I've already built, just here. For the lower levels, right? And with that, as you can see, my citizens are so happy that despite everything, they have the ability to level up now and reach tier 2. And with that, we got the first tier 2 houses. You can house another citizen in that, right? So there's 3 now, and it also has a higher structural stability. Stario Haven Tower, what an amazing, promising game coming up. We've just touched the surface of this one here. Well, basically, literally touched the surface as we're climbing further and further up and just uncover the mysteries. I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to check out the link in the video description to learn more about this game. And don't forget to check out my channel as well, because once this game comes out, I'm sure going to play this one for you as well. Stay tuned.